everyone! Again, this is Nurse Christine and welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I'll be sharing with you how to apply for a TN visa. If you watch my previous videos, you guys are probably aware that I'm currently working here in United States as a registered nurse, and I'm from Canada and I apply here in US and I'm currently working under TN visa. So if you're interested and wanted to know more about TN visa, please keep on watching. Okay, so let's have a short story first on how I ended up here in US. So 2014 is the year when I moved to Canada. So from 2014 to I would say 2017, 2018, I've been working on to get my license as a registered nurse in Canada. However, it didn't work out as I planned it, and it was just frustrating and it was just disappointing as well. So one time, there was a job fair in Edmonton, Alberta, and I was like, I have nothing to do, might as well just go and see. So I attended that job fair. And I was surprised because I saw a lot of US employers. I was wondering, why are there US employers here in Canada? One of the US employer or one of the agency who approached me is actually Kinetics USA. And their first question to me is, are you a Canadian citizen already? At that time, I still have a year left so I can apply for citizenship. So I told them not yet. They asked me, did you pass NCLEX already? I told them not yet. So, and then they told me, did you know that once you are already a citizen and you pass your NCLEX and you have a USRN license, you can actually work in United States under TN visa. That's the first time I heard about this so-called TN visa. So to cut the story short, I processed my Canadian and US license at the same time, and my US license came first, and I got my citizenship. So I decided to venture or to try working here in United States, and ta-da, here I am. And I feel like this is one of the best decisions I made in my career, moving here to US and work as a registered nurse. So let's go back to our topic in this video, which is TN visa. Shout out to Jeanette. She actually commented on one of my video asking about this TN visa and the process. So this video is inspired by her question or by her comment. So TN visa. TN visa is a non-immigrant working visa under NAFTA or North America Free Trade Agreement. It's an agreement between among three countries, which is United States, Canada, and Mexico. So under this agreement, there are certain professions who can actually work in these three countries and can apply for TN visa. I will insert here. And fortunately, being a registered nurse is one of the professions included in that agreement. So ever since 2019, I applied for TN visa for more than 5 times already. That is why I can confidently say that I know what are the requirements, and I can share with you all my experiences, all my mistakes. I actually got denied twice, and I'll tell you what are my mistakes. And yeah, so first thing foremost, what are the requirements in applying for a TN visa? So before you consider applying for a TN visa, you must meet these three major requirements. Number one, you need to be a citizen. You have to be a Canadian citizen. You cannot apply if you just have like the PR card. You need to be a citizen. Number two, you need to pass your NCLEX and have a license to work as a registered nurse in United States. It doesn't matter which state. But of course, wherever you're gonna work, you need a license to work on that state. Number three is you need to have an employer. Right now, it's so easy to find an employer because of the demands for nurses, and a lot of agencies are willing to help you out and looking for an employer so you can work in US. So once you have these three major requirements, then you can proceed to other requirements necessary to apply for TN visa. So what are the requirements for TN visa? Because I've been applying for TN visa several times already, I already have like an envelope where all the requirements needed are in here. So every time I have a plan on applying for a TN visa, I just grabbed it and put my passport inside, and then I'm good to go. Okay, number one requirement is the original offer letter from your US employer. So it has to be original. It cannot be a scanned copy or photocopy. So what your employer has to do is to actually directly send it to you. If you're still in Canada, they have to use a courier or like FedEx, DHL to send it to you, so you have the original copy with the original signature. So how do you find a US employer, or even if you're in Canada? So for me, like what I said, I met an agency, right? There are so many agencies who are willing to hire Canadians to work in US because there's so much demand right now. However, as we all know, sometimes nursing agencies, for instance, for us, they place us in a skilled nursing facility. I really wanted to work in hospital, so I ended up looking for another employer by myself because I want to work in a hospital setting. So that's the first requirement, offer letter. So next requirement is you have to prove your education. So you need your original transcript of records, you need your original diploma, your high school and college diploma, and then all your other certifications, if you did your master's degree and if you did your doctoral. And this is one thing, another important thing. If your education is outside US, you need to have an equivalency. So you need to find a company which can compare your education, your level of education, for instance, in the Philippines to US. So for instance, this is mine. So the company that I went to is Education Evaluation Experts of America Incorporated. So they will send you this. It basically shows, for instance, US equivalency granted bachelor's degree in nursing. So if you didn't study in US or in Canada, you need this. And another thing I mentioned, that it always needs original. Okay, so I've seen a couple of people applying for TN visa, and they actually brought, their certificates in frames. I was like surprised to see them with bunch of frames. For me, I'm bad. I just have it here. Anyways, other requirements is next is you need to prove your citizenship. So for instance, for me, I have my certificate of Canadian citizenship. Of course, your passport. You need your passport. And also, you still need your birth certificate, original birth certificate. So another thing that you will actually need is CGFNS visa screen. I can't remember. I'll search for it. I'll put a price here. But you need a CGFNS visa screen. This is the one. I got it. So this is a so you can see here it expires June 5, 2023. So I think its validity is 5 years. So basically, it will just kind of like confirm that you're actually a registered nurse and you're not fake. So what else? And you also, I was told to also bring a resume, and I just basically brings everything. My license verification. Of course, that's very important. Your license, for instance, if you have license in the Philippines, you have license in Canada, and you have your US license, you have to bring everything. And also, if you already have your social security number, they might ask for that. But initially, when I applied for because my employer before is in California, supposed to be, I don't have a social security number at that time. So I just kind of explained it to the officer that I don't have it yet. But once I had my visa, I can apply for a social security number. And then he's fine with that. And yeah, I think that's basically all the requirements that you need. So where can you apply for a TN visa? So for me, I just have to cross the border, the land border. I never tried applying. I know that you can also apply in some airports because they have like immigration officers there. But for me, I just find it easier to just apply via land borders. So I tried one in Montana because that's the closest to my place when I was still in Canada. But most of my recent TN visas are in the border here in between Washington State and British Columbia. So yeah. So my tip when you're applying, because when I applied before, it was pre-pandemic, and I tried it and also experienced applying during pandemic. So there's actually a big difference, because pre-pandemic, you go inside, you actually talk to the officer, and for some reasons they were more strict. I don't know, maybe because it was my first time applying for TN visa, so they have so many questions with me, and you have to be confident and you need to know things or how to answer them. Like for instance, they will ask you what's your job, who is your employer, what are you gonna do with your job, and stuff like that. So the reasons I actually got denied twice is like what I said. First, I didn't have that equivalency, US degree equivalency, so I had to learn this lesson the hard way. And second time is I didn't have an original copy of my diploma. So see, guys, my mistakes, your gain. So make sure you bring everything. So once you have all these requirements, I think you'll be good to go. So how long does it take to get your TN visa? Based on my experience, the longest one was during my first application. It took me like 3 hours because the officer has to call my employer, and at that time I went really early and the office is still closed. So I waited until the office is open and the employer has a meeting and stuff like that. So yeah, it took me 3 hours. But the shortest is actually, I think, less than an hour, like 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. So yeah, you heard it right. You can get it the same day. Imagine you cross the border, you apply for TN visa, and the next day you can work already. So it's very easy and convenient. It's not like you have to wait for a long period of time. Okay, so you get it right away. The only thing about this TN visa is you are considered an alien. What does it mean? It's not like eventually you can apply for a green card. So like what I said, this is a non-immigrant employment visa. You are expected that after your contract, for instance, you're eligible to work for 2 years, you're expected to go back to your country. For instance, for me, to Canada. And I don't have a purpose of living or staying here in US. So yeah, that's the only sad thing, because, and also TN visa is only exclusive for that particular employer. Okay, so for instance, for me, I have 3 TN visas right now because I have 3 employers. I have a full-time job, I have a 2 per diem jobs. So I have 3 TN visas. So every employer you need to have a separate TN visa. So how much is a TN visa? I actually kept the receipt. So I paid $56 for a TN visa. So that's actually not bad, because compared to other visas, right? It probably costs more. So how long is your TN visa valid? So it is, most of my TN visas are valid for 2 years. Can you reapply after that? If your employer wants you, then you can. So you can always renew it every 2 years. So it's not like after 2 years, goodbye, go back to your country. It's not like that. So after 2 years, you can reapply again. And so in this part of the video, I'll be sharing with you now our experience applying for a TN visa. This is during pandemic, so it's kind of different. But if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below and let me know. And if you have any video suggestion, let me know too. Once again, thanks for watching this video. Bye-bye.
Welcome to Canada. Continue on British Columbia 15 North for 1 mile.
So we are already here in the US-Canada border. So the process is completely different because of the COVID crisis that we are facing right now. So before, once you're here in the border, you'll go inside there in the office, and then you'll apply for visa. But since now that there's a COVID, they are trying to limit the social contact, I think. So now we are here in our car, and they just told us to wait for an officer to come, and then 2 of the officers came out and asked what's the purpose for the visit today, and they took all the documents and our passports, and they gave my sister a piece of paper where you are asked to fill in your duties and responsibilities based on the job that you're actually applying for. And they told us that they're just gonna come back to take the paper. And so yeah, so it's completely different from the process that I used to do when I apply. Yeah, so I guess this is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna wait here in our car for the officers to come back. So yeah, after 46 minutes, an officer came out and told my sister that her TN visa got approved. She just needs to pay $56 and needs to go inside for fingerprinting and picture taking. So yeah, so that's actually really quick. Less than an hour.